Hey everyone, just wanted to make a quick demo on the Leads Importer and the Geodirectory. So for this demo, what I wanted to show you quickly is how to use the API to search for the Google listings and then directly import into Geodirectory. In the first video, I showed you how to export to CSV, and then you can also import it into Geodirectory via that process. But in this case, it's going to be much faster because we are directly sending it into Geodirectory website and you don't need any plugin or CSV for that. So some of the first steps we're going to need to do is to set up your Geodirectory first, so your WordPress website. So I set up a little demo here, and the first things we're going to need to do is first create your CPTs, so your custom post types. In this case, I have three. So Geodirectory comes by default with the places. And then if you want to add more, which in my case, I have the contractors and the books, you will need to install the Geodirectory add-on for custom post types. But for this example, we are going to anyway use the places custom post type. Okay, so in the WordPress site, after the custom post types are created, so we have the places by default, as I mentioned. We do need to have also the categories. So we can set up all the categories that we want here. So we need to set up all the categories that we want here, as we can see. You can also establish with parent category because it will be imported automatically. So you can have just regular categories, but if you need to set up with also the parents, it will also work in this case. So the next step then is to create the proper fields for the importer. In that case, we are going to go to where your CPT is. We go to settings, and then here it's where we have all the available fields that we can add here on the listing form. So by default, of course, Geodirectory comes with their own fields, and then we only need to add a couple of more fields. So what we are going to add from the importer in this case, it's going to add the title, the description. So the description will also be dynamic, and then I'll show you further how to do it. The category, as I mentioned here, the place categories, then the address, the image. So one image will be imported that will be serving as the cover, the featured image, the phone, when the business has the phone, the email, also when the business has the email, website, Twitter, Facebook, the business hours, the Instagram, the rating, so the average rating, and the total number of ratings. So rating or review, how you want to call it. But in this case, you need to call it as it says here. Then finally, the place ID. The place ID is very useful because it will help you in the future to identify the listing with the Google Place ID, and then you can use it in the future to update your listing. Important note is that you do need to make sure you label the fields as you see here because the importer does need to read the metadata field name behind it in order to import properly. So as long as you keep as it is here, it will be okay. All right, so once these fields are done, we do need to set up the credentials in order for the importer to communicate with the website. And in that case, what we are going to do is we are going to go here into users, all users. Okay, so now here I already have one user created. And what we're going to do is just create that access to communicate between both the importer and the website. So for that, we need the username here, in this case, LeadsImporter. And then here below, we are going to create a new key. So I already have here a new key, but I'm just going to create another one for the purpose of the demo. So you just name whatever you want here, is just to be in enable you to identify where you are using this key. So in this case, demo, for example. I'm going to add new application number. And then here you have the password. So do keep in mind that once you go out of this page, you will not be able to access this key anymore, as you can see here below. So, or keep it in a notepad, write it down, or just don't do anything because you can always generate other passwords for this. In this case, I'm going to copy here, copy, and now we need to add it into the app in order to use it. So, okay, as I mentioned, username, then again, username Leads Importer, the password, copy. Then we're going to go here into the platform. And as you can see, when we land into the Leads Importer platform, we are in the dashboard. And then we are going to go here into settings. So when we go into settings, we can see the Geodirectory. That's what we're going to go for setup. And as you can see here, it's still empty. So this is the website that you want to run. The Geodirectory with the Leads Importer. So in this case, I'm going to add our demo site. Then the application username, as I was mentioning, Leads Importer. So then again, this one here, this username. Then going back into the app. Okay, sounds good. And then here we are going to add then the application password that we generated. So we can click here show to make sure it's the right one. Okay, looks good. Then we are going to save. All right, so the pop-up indicates it's okay. So now if I go here back and I go inside again, yeah, so it was saved properly. All right, then the next step here, the access is done, is to actually create your content body. So the content body is basically how you want to write dynamically your description. So as I indicated, going back here into places, into settings, we have here the description. So basically this will allow you to use the Google fields and to write your own dynamic text for the description. And in order for us to do that, so we can say, for example, if your website is in English, you can just write our business, and then imagine that we want the name of the business. So we have these fields that we can use. So we just copy here, copy, we add it here, and then is located. And so here we can actually add, for example, the street. And if we want in the city of this, and then you can say, for example, contact us at, and leave the contact, the email, however you see fit. So here. Then we're going to do save. So if we go back here again and we go inside the setup, you will see it's already saved and it will appear here. And then we are ready for the next step. Now, the next step is, as you can see here, I have my post types and I have my category list. So this means that when you create the custom post types in the categories in your website, you are able to import them here, because this will make it easier for you then to select them from a list when you want to import to the right place in your website. So if I go here, I have the places, the contractors, and the books. And then inside of each, as you can see, I have the contractor categories and the book categories and the place categories. So the process here is simple because you already added the credentials in the previous step here. We are ready then to read, to be able to read and communicate with your website. So I'm just going to click then here. A pop-up will come. We're just going to wait a little bit because it's importing. And now that it's done, as you can see, books, contractors, and places. So in case you do have a lot of post types and you don't want to work with a couple of them and just leave one or two, you can just select here, delete the ones you don't want to use. As a note, this will only delete it from the front end. It will not delete this from your website. So this is just a way of you organizing your data and how to use it properly in order to import the listings that you want. Then the next step, we apply the same for the categories. Once the categories are done here, you will be able to import the categories. You will not need to select one by one because since you already imported here the post types, the categories will automatically read from those three post types and bring all the categories. So now if I just click here, another pop-up will come indicating that we are importing the categories. So we just also need to wait a little bit until the pop-up disappears and the category list will appear here. Okay, so now we're done, and as you can see, we have here the category name and the associated post type to the category. As you can see, we have a lot here. So then again, if you don't need some categories, you only work with a couple, you can always decide to delete. So for example, uncategorized, we can just delete, and that's it. Here, we just use the filter if you want to have a better visualization of which category corresponds to which post type. You can just use the filter. So in this case, there's nothing for books. There's for contractors and there's for places. If in the future you add more categories or you delete, you can always just come back here and click import categories. What this will do in the end is just go again, read the categories you have available in your website, and then just upload and update here the proper ones. Okay, so now we're done here. In terms of setting up your Geodirectory website, setting up your website also. Now we only miss one final step, which is your Google API settings. So this Google API settings will make sure that you can read through the Google places and you will not need to use, for example, a scraper for this. And this is quite simple. So you will only need to generate a Google API key and then save it here. So in this case, you can follow this video here in order to see how to generate and restrict your API key. And you can also click here if you want to have more visual instructions. So if you click here, you'll basically will go to the Google website and you will be able also to follow the instructions and also hear the same video that I posted there and the platform. All right. Okay, so now we are fully ready because I had already put here the key before. So we are good to go to start searching for some listings and then importing from the website. Just before maybe going into that, I'm just going to give a quick view on how it looks like when it's imported into your website. So if I go in here into places, as you can see, I already did previously a couple of tests. Okay, so in this case, we have a couple of listings uploaded. So let's go here, edit. So we have here the name, we have here the dynamic description that we build, as we can see, the category, the default category, address, country, region, city, zip code. As you can see, we have here the featured image and here the thumbnail. Then here below we have the latitude, longitude, the phone, email, the website, and in this case it did not find Twitter or Facebook. And then here below, we don't have business hours in this case because at the time I didn't do the business hours, but it will appear here in case it's available. Then we have the rating, the total ratings, and then the place ID as I explained in the beginning. This is just how it works more or less. So let's do a live example. And for that, we're going to go here, and we are here in search listings. So for the keyword, we can do, for example, pizza, pizzeria, restaurant, how you see fit, how you want to look for. The location, we can do, for example, Austin, Texas. And we'll do a radius of 5 kilometers because ideally you should use lower range and then increase the range or change the location. In this case, I'm just using a high level location just for the demo. All right, so simple. We're just going to do now search. We're going to let it run. So as you can see, for now it's empty. We're going to do a search. A pop-up will come indicating that it's searching, and we're just going to wait a little bit. And once the pop-up is disappears, we're going to see the lists here below, the listings, I mean, and we're going to see here the number of results that it found. Right, so now it found listings, and as you can see, the pop-up changed a little bit. So this means it's searching for the media. As a note, sometimes this can take a little bit because what we do is we look for the emails and the social media. So we want to guarantee that when we are looking at the freshest data. All right, so it's finished, and as you can see, 60 results. And as we can see here below, we have the listings from, as you can see, the region Austin. I can see here the social media. So in this case, website. We have in this one, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the website. Here the same. And let me see here. This one has the email, for example. And then going below. Okay. And then that's it. So another thing you can do here, for example, is you can click and it will go to the respective website or social media channel, and you can check more details if needed. Okay, so now we are here and we have a couple of things that we can do. Is we want to import at this moment, and we click here on put it on, and then as you can see, a couple more filters or options will be available. So starting from the left to right, we have the status. So if you want to upload as a draft, so some people use it in order then to refine a little bit better the listings, or just to make a couple of tests before seeing how it looks like, to test the import. So you can do this. The only thing I need to remark here is that if you do it as a draft, you will not be able to update these listings, because once you upload as a draft, the WordPress API makes it as private and not available even via credentials. Then publish, you go directly published into your website. Here we choose the post type that we want to import into. So as you can see, books, contractors, and places. And then when we choose the right CPT, we'll have here the categories that we want to upload. So in this case, for example, I choose restaurant. We can say restaurants here. And here it's the rating. So this means that if we do have ratings from 1 to 5 and you only want to have a couple of ones uploaded, like for example, if you would only want 5 or more than 4.5, you just need to select the respective rating that you want to do it. So if you leave by default all, you will just import all. As you can see here, there's 4.7, 4.4, 4.1, 3.8. So you could choose like, I only want more than 4.0. So this one would be excluded, for example. In this case, we're just going to leave it as all. All right, so now we have two options. Or we import only a couple of them, or the ones you decide to import, or we only import all of them. All right, so now here we have two options. Or we only import the selected ones. So it means that you only want to import some of them, not all. And in order to do that, you can choose here the ones you want to import. So just by clicking import, import, and import. So 3 in this case. And then you just click import selected. If you want all of them, in this case 60, you don't need to click here, obviously. You just need to click import all. So we're going to do both and show how it looks like. Before testing the import then, just a couple of remarks here on these three buttons. So if you go for clear listings, it means that once you finish importing and you want to start a new search, you need to click clear listings. So this will make sure that it will exclude those listings from the database, and you will make a clean sheet, and then you are ready to search and go all over the process again. The sync database works for the future after the import process. So what does this mean? It means that if we look into here, we have the post ID. So it means that after you import these listings into your website and you run another search, in case there is a listing that you already imported that Google finds it for you, it will appear here your post ID. So in that case, here instead of import will be update. So you'll be able to decide if you do an import select and you want to update that listing, or in that case, you'll be able to not import at all, to not update in this case. And the sync database purpose is in case you delete one listing or more from your website, you need to sync the database. This is important because if you delete them, we need to guarantee when we are making a new search that this listing that it's found now via the Google search is a new listing and not a previously imported listing. Um, then finally, get CSV. So basically, you can decide or you import directly, or you prefer to export the CSV and then import via this process. So you have both choices. In this case, now we are going to do a import selected. So I selected these three. We're going to do an import, and I have already here selected the filters that I want to use to the import. So publish, places, restaurant, and all. So we're going to click here. A pop-up will appear indicating that it's importing. So we're just going to wait a little bit. And after we're done, as we can see, it's going to indicate 3 were imported. So the pop-up disappeared, 3 were imported. And now we're going to go back here into places. And as you can see, the date of today, so 1, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go inside, and as you can see, the dynamic text, as I was showing, is here, neat and tidy. Category: restaurants, restaurants, the address, the country, the region, the city, the zip, postcode, the image with a thumbnail. Then more below we have the latitude, the longitude, the phone. In this case, it has no email. The website, then the Twitter and the Facebook. All right, then here below, as you can see, found business hours. Perfect. Instagram, the rating totals, and the place ID. All right, just one remark that I want to say also here. As you can see, the time zone is UTC because this is the time zone of the website. So if you do want to have a different time zone here, just keep in mind you have to go here into settings and make sure that you are using the right time zone for your website. All right, so we did an import selected, and as you can see, it was important. In the case that you want to use the import all and you have previously used import selected, here the process is, in this case, 3, so you need to delete these 3 listings, but just by clicking here on these actions. We will then implement a feature where you will be able to import select and import all without duplicating the listings. But for now, you do need to use still here the action of deleting the listing. Okay, so now we have these 3 listings imported, and just to finalize, I did a quick demo using Oxygen, so I'm just going to show you how it quickly looks here. I just had the quick demo with the template. I use here the the image. As you can see, the category, the name, the dynamic description, category, the phone, the website as clickable, and here I added the Facebook, Instagram. Of course, you do it as you want. And then here the ratings total, the address, again here the city, the region, the postcode, the country, and here the lat long, and here we can see it in the map. And yeah, that's it. So this is how it looks like when you use the direct importer. So as you can see, it's quite simple and fast, and you don't have the need of exporting with a CSV format and then importing back into your website. And all right, everyone, so that's it. I'm starting to get hungry with this image, but as you can see, this is quite simple how to use the direct importer for your Geodirectory website and remove the need of using a CSV. Okay, so just let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this video was useful. Thank you very much.